Everybody loves dads, stories, and the Marine Corps. What could be better than Marine Corps dads who tell stories? Here's another story with veteran storyteller John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad.
Tonight's story is the reason why daddies are fat. Once upon a time, there were no fat dads. There were only skinny dads. Until they invented airplanes. One day, a dad and his family decided to take an airplane ride. And so they all got into the airplane. And this is back in the day when riding an airplane was a super special thing to do. And so the mommy packed a picnic basket because there was no TSA to keep them from putting food and drink onto the plane. And so they picked the picnic basket, and all the children wore their Sunday best because riding a plane was a big event, and everyone always wore their nicest clothes when they were riding on a plane. And the daddy wore a suit and a tie, and the mommy wore a nice Sunday dress, and the little girls wore their nice Sunday dresses, and everybody was neat and clean and orderly and had good manners, and they all got onto the plane. And the plane, it took off and went into the sky, into the wild blue yonder, until they heard one of the engines go. And one of the engines turned off. And the pilot looked at the co-pilot and said, George, why'd the engine turn off? And George said, I don't know, Bob. And they looked at the fuel gauge and they saw it was on E, which means the plane was out of gas. And the pilot and the co-pilot looked at each other. They looked at the family in the back. They put on their parachutes and jumped out of the plane. Because they did not want to be in a plane that was about to hit the water, because they were flying over the ocean. And so the mommy said, oh no, what are we gonna do? And all the little girls said, what are we gonna do? And the daddy said, bring me the picnic basket. And so they brought their father the picnic basket. And that daddy ate a whole pizza, 5 ham sandwiches, a whole carton of donuts, all the cookies, and drank a whole gallon of orange soda. The whole thing. And it pushed his stomach out. And the very first dad bod was formed. And the plane crashed into the water, and everyone was like, ah! Because nobody knew how to swim. And they're like, ah! And the daddy said, just hold on to me. And he went onto his back and floated up, and his belly did float on top of the water. And all the little girls held onto his arms and legs, and his wife held onto one of his arms, and so they floated to safety. All because the daddy got fat. And now all daddies are fat, so that we can save your miserable lives when it comes down to it. The end.
That was another story with John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad. Check the show notes for links to his Patreon and website at creativegrumbles.com.